Hey there, XRP traders and investors. It's Rod with Pow Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth, your home for MJ stocks, crypto assets, news, and interviews. Today's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, April 23rd. Hope you're well. And in this video, we're going to be discussing the Teucrium CEO saying that XRP has the most utility. We know that we knew, like, if you've been following this channel for a while now, if you've been a realist, if you've been telling the truth, you know that XRP has the most utility. It's not like we have to tune in to the Teucrium CEO for us to know this. We've known this for years, but we love to see it. He was on BNN Bloomberg, and we're really starting to see this go mainstream. And, you know, it's not a knock on Bitcoin. Bitcoin was first, so it got us to where we are today. But it's no different than looking at it like the internet, right? Imagine if we just stopped innovating at dial-up internet. And we didn't, because that was the first, right? We didn't have all this tribalistic nature, though, with the internet. No one cared. They didn't have any skin in the game. But now, because people own Bitcoin, they feel threatened by these other projects, right? So just like basically the best way I can explain it is XRP is the high-speed internet, right? We didn't just stop innovating, right? We didn't just stop at Bitcoin. We continued, and actually XRP was created by original Bitcoin developers that saw the flaws of Bitcoin. You know, it was slow and clunky and energy intensive, and the fees were high, right? So all of these things, they set out to make a better Bitcoin. And that's all it is. And we're starting to see, like I say, the mainstream media wake up. We're going to take a look at the XRP chart. And then I do have a clip from that BNN Bloomberg interview and the CEO of Teucrium, the new XRP ETF that's 2x leveraged. I actually did buy that ETF, and it's been very fruitful so far. But again, not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. This is for entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. Never buy or sell anything based on anything that I say or do. We do have some bullish continuation patterns on deck for XRP. We'll take a look at the charts as well, and we'll do that, and then we'll jump into the video at the end. And make sure to smash like, subscribe, tick the bell, all that stuff. You'll be notified on any future videos or when I go live. And I do own XRP in my portfolio as well. It's my largest crypto asset holding. And then like I said, I did add that XRP ETF, which we'll discuss more in just a moment. You can follow us over on X as well, formerly Twitter. Handle for that is @GroupPow. Going to be using that as my platform of choice going forward. So we did hit a new all-time high today on XRP. This was the first spot ETF, and it's a 2x leveraged ETF, but it's a futures-based ETF. So essentially, you're just betting on the price, what it will be in the future, right? It's not a spot ETF, which means that it holds the underlying asset. That's more than likely going to be coming in the next couple of quarters. We have a new SEC chair, Paul Atkins, so we're more than likely going to see the Ripple case settlement wrap up very, very soon. Could be any time now. I think it's going to be within the next, few weeks. And then we could see ETFs be approved, Solana, XRP, there's a ton. But I think XRP makes a lot of sense that we could see it over the next couple of quarters. And that's going to be icing on the cake. It's going to really send it's going to kick off alt season, in my opinion, and we're starting to see even Ethereum really start to rebound here, sitting at just around $1,800. So this is what we want to see. We want to see Ethereum get back into the winners column as well, and start to rebound, and then see full blown alt season. I think we should see Bitcoin somewhere around 120 to 140K. And that's probably about as high as it'll go this cycle, in my opinion. And then we'll see full blown alt season shortly after. But watch for those ETFs and the case settlement with Ripple and the SEC to be coming very shortly. And then we should see a Ripple IPO announcement at some point in late 2025, I would think. And then more than likely an IPO at some point in 2026, which I believe will be the biggest IPO in history. But if we could take a look at XXRP here, which is the Teucrium 2x long ETF. I did buy this. I got it whenever it was down around just around $23. So we hit $22.50. I started to buy it at $23, and it was the second day of trading, actually. And from that low to the high of the day today, new all-time high, we're up 57%. And it's actually a daily bull flag. I mentioned on my last XRP video that we had a daily bull flag on XRP, so it stands to reason as to why there would be one here on the XXRP ETF as well. There's a daily bull flag on the actual underlying asset. Well, the ETF, there's a good chance that there's one as well. And then sure enough, we had our low, high, higher low, held the 0.32 fib to perfection. And then once we broke the high there at 32.77, that confirmed it. Then you just take your measured move from the low to the high, move it out to your 0.32 fib, and it's saying about $42 is the target. The high of the day today, we hit 35.47. So in terms of percentage, we're only about 17% away. So love to see it. I know a lot of people in the Pow Group private community had purchased that ETF as well. I bought it in a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account in Canada, which means all of the gains are tax-free whenever you take those. Whenever you lock in those gains. If we take a look at XRP here on the daily time frame, we did have an inverse head and shoulders that confirmed as well. And then you just take your measured move from the head to the neckline, move it out to your neckline, and it's saying the target there is around 313. And we have the daily bull flag target of 268. And we could still see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross here on the daily time frame. So this is looking really good for continuation. Like I said, our daily bull flag target number 1 is 268, and then we have 313, the inverse head and shoulders. So this is looking fantastic. We should continue to, doesn't mean we're going to go there tomorrow or the next day. We could, but it means that, that's the target. It could take a week or two before those targets are hit. And it doesn't mean that we can't pull it back along the way either, right? We don't have any daily support now, really back until around $2. So at this point, we will expect continuation, but there might be a little bit of turbulence on the way there, right? So we can pull back for a daily high or low. We're in a daily uptrend, so no major red flags whatsoever. And if we take a look at the weekly time frame, we're seeing a stochastic bull cross. We're still struggling with the 10-week moving average. We can get back above that, and then the MACD set to cross bullish here in the next, I would say, 2 to 3 weeks. It's looking like XRP is going, like I said, it's going to really start to gain some momentum here in the next 2 to 4 weeks, and potential new all-time high in price discovery as well. But Bitcoin is a little bit further along. If you bring up Bitcoin here, you can see the MACD is very close to happening. So again, I think Bitcoin should run, then Ethereum, and then the rest of the alts for full-blown alt season shortly after that. But a lot of names lining up for weekly MACD bull crosses as well. So it's looking good across the space, and still well above all of our weekly moving averages. If we can get above our 100-day moving average at 246, then we'll be back above all of our daily moving averages and avoid this death cross here with the 50-day and the 200-day moving average set to cross. They're still quite a ways away before we see those cross bearish and see a death cross. So if we can get back above that 100-day moving average there at 246, like I said, we should see some velocity and breakout, a massive breakout up to around that 270, maybe even north of $3 in a very short period of time. So we'll bring up this interview here, and we'll go through it as quickly as possible, and I'll leave everybody with this today. I did want to make this video a little bit shorter. It's already going a little bit longer than anticipated, so I'll try to play this. I think it's about a 6 or 7 minute clip, so we'll go through it here now.
About leveraged crypto ETFs, because the Teucrium 2 times long daily XRP ETF, it's been on a tear since its launch earlier this month. It reached $25 million in AUM in just 9 trading days. And I'm pleased to say that Sal Gilberti, he is the CEO of Teucrium. He joins us now. Great to see you in person, Sal.
Good to see you as well, Katie.
So a leveraged 2 times long XRP ETF. You launched it at a good time because we're seeing this bounce back in the cryptocurrency itself. But who is this for? Who is coming into this ETF in its first 9 or so trading days?
Well, I think the XRP community, they really are a bit of a cult. They are dedicated people, and rightfully so. There are a lot.
Saying that XRP investors are basically in a cult. Well, you don't see the maximalism with XRP that you do with Bitcoin. So what are they in? What are Bitcoin maxis in if they're not in a cult? It's kind of foolish, really, when you think about it. Like the XRP community is actually like the most agnostic. Like we're not, we're freedom maxis. We're, level playing field maxis, essentially, right? You never see any XRP community, influencer or member of the community. None of them are saying, only own XRP and XRP, buy XRP and only XRP, right? It's the only one. I personally have XRP around 80% of my portfolio. My crypto portfolio is in XRP, but I still own a bunch of other tokens as well, right? Like there's going to be multiple coins. There's going to be multiple different use cases, but XRP will be the one primarily for cross-border payments and payments in general, but we'll keep going.
A lot of XRP wallets, I think more than 6 million out there. So we know there's pent-up demand to tap into XRP in a more traditional Wall Street wrapper. Now, it's not so traditional that you go with leverage, that's the point. But this specific product is geared towards traders who have a short-term view, primarily one-day view of what XRP's price moves might be. This allows them in a traditional brokerage account to achieve leverage without a margin account.
Are you seeing those folks actually adopt it right now?
As an ETF issuer, we don't see directly who buys them, but we believe it's a mix of professionals and retails trading their own account.
What do you think think of retail getting in on it?
Is
it risky?
Of course it's risky. Leveraged funds are always risky, and people need to be very careful. I think sophisticated retail traders are in this. I hope that the non-sophisticated traders do their homework first before they set their foot in this.
Yeah.
And I will comment on that as well. So very, very true. You want to be very careful with these ETFs. I'm not holding it long term. It's just a very short term trade for me. If you're looking for actual long term holds, there's no better way than just owning the asset. And you can go to tandem.com. You can use code POW. You get 10% off one of the hardware wallets. That's what I use. I actually have 2 of them, and they're fantastic. Not your keys, not your crypto. So you actually control the private keys. It's super easy to use, affordable. And you're in control of your own crypto. When you leave them on exchanges and whatnot, you can do so as well. There's Wealthsimple. There'll be links for that if you want to buy XRP in Canada or in the US. There'll be links for Uphold as well below, so you can buy it there. But the best way to do it is to hold the actual asset itself. But I was looking to buy an ETF for XRP in my TFSA, and I can't do that with the actual crypto. So I have to buy a wrapper, an ETF, and the only thing available right now was this ETF. And I didn't want to wait until after the ETFs got approved because the price might have already skyrocketed by then. So again, don't hold this ETF for long term. Like if you're thinking 5-10 years, this isn't that isn't the vehicle, right? Once the actual spot ETFs come out in the US, which should be over the next couple of quarters, then you can, those are okay to hold long term, right? So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know. I can clarify.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like volatility is the point, right? You want the action, you want the ups and downs that come with a lot of these coins. I'm curious about what working with the SEC was like, because a year ago, I think it would have been really hard to get this approved. And even though Paul Atkins only recently got confirmed, actually got in the chair, it seems like this SEC is already more permissive, more open-minded to these sorts of products.
Absolutely. The key difference is the old SEC regime was a blocker. They acted literally as a blocker. The leadership in the SEC worked against the crypto industry, I believe. And now we had this little gap before the new SEC commissioner was approved. And that's when we got our fund approved, just because we followed the rules. We thought the time was right. It was. We applied as soon as we could, meaning the old regime had left and wouldn't block us. And we simply listed as soon as we could, following the normal rules. The staff is really wonderful at the SEC. They're knowledgeable. They push back when they need to, and they accept our pushback. It's the leadership that matters. The old leadership was a blocker to crypto. The new leadership hopefully will not be.
What exactly do you want to see from them, though? We hear a lot about regulatory clarity, but what is the regulatory clarity that you want to see?
Well, I think they need to put regulatory clarity over Ripple, over the issuers of the coin. And Ripple's asking for that. Ripple's a company of really professional people working really hard on this. That's why we chose XRP. We believe in XRP. We're not making a price prediction, but we do believe it's a coin that will have the most utility out there. Bitcoin is a store of value. I agree with Mike McGlone, but I think that XRP has a true use case. There's just no doubt about it, and the Ripple.
I love that too, and the fact that Bitcoin failed on its original mission to be a payment system. No one's using it as a payment system. We're not transacting in Bitcoin. Now they have a new use case that's called store of value, which was mentioned nowhere in the Bitcoin white paper, right? The initial vision of Satoshi Nakamoto. But now it's a quote unquote store of value, right? But XRP is actually arguably a better store of value because with every transaction, a small amount of XRP is burnt. Not even Bitcoin has that. So yeah, and like I said, Bitcoin, we like Bitcoin. It got us here, but it's old, it's antiquated, and XRP hands down has the best utility. I was going to play this whole thing, but I won't, just an effort of time. Maybe what I'll do is I'll drop the link of this interview here in the comment section. And in the description, it's around the 6-minute mark is where it starts talking about XRP and this ETF, and then it goes till about the 13-minute mark. So yeah, that's a little bit long for this video. I just wanted to play that, that XRP has the most utility. Like we're talking about all the money, right? It was the first DEX as well, so decentralized exchange where you can tokenize anything and everything. And they talk about that as well, how eventually everything's going to be tokenized, and wouldn't give a price prediction, but I think easily this cycle, $8 to $12 is an absolute layup, slam dunk, whatever you want to call it. And then somewhere around that, $14 to $18 is the most likely scenario. And I do think we could hit, $20, $30 this cycle. But again, I'm not expecting that as the most likely scenario. I think, somewhere around that $14 to $18 makes a lot of sense. I've already done a ton of analysis on that in the past. I'll link a video here to that analysis. But going in it there, it's Rod with Pow Group. Thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth. Let me know what you think of this news, and we'll continue the conversation in the comment section below. All right, see you on the next one.